episode 4 of the Over the Hill podcast. An opportunity for me to sit down to talk to people I find interesting, talk to people that I've worked alongside in music and have shared experiences with, and also talk to some people that I don't really know too well as well, and get their perspective on life. And I'm here with an old friend, someone I haven't seen for quite a long time, partly because he's on another continent.
Yeah,
The one and only DJ Blaise. How are you doing, mate?
good, mate. Good to see you. It's been a long, long time.
All
You're
via the
looking well,
medium.
mate.
I'm looking bald, mate. That's what I'm looking at. Not as well as you. Look at the tan on him. Look, this is the thing, right? So, for those of you that don't know, Blaise is currently living in Dubai, and that's another reason I wanted to get you on to hear. On episode 3 that I recorded just a couple of days ago, I was discussing with my guest Simon Harkness from It's Gone Viral. We were talking about Dubai influencers and stuff, and it was just quite coincidental. I was like, funnily enough, my next guest is actually living out there at the moment. He's not an influencer.
I was just going to say that. Can we just clarify? I'm not an influencer at all.
But yeah, I said to him you were living out there, and it'd be interesting to hear how it's been. So yeah, how has it been, man? Because you guys seem to have COVID, but not really have too much COVID, and now everything. I don't know. There seemed to be this weird point where every person who had a bit of money in the UK was in Dubai, but now
Yeah.
even that's kind of locked off. So what's been going on out there?
Right. What happened? Obviously, what happened when COVID hit last year with it here? Obviously, I was DJing. I moved here August 2019, and it took me till the end of October, beginning of November to get sort my visa out for me to be able to work and stuff like that. Um, I worked in November, December, January. We started getting whiffed of COVID. I went back to the UK, had a couple of gigs back in the UK, caught on my brothers and my family and stuff like that. Went skiing, came back to Dubai, and then I started losing a couple of gigs here and there. Not just me, a lot of people was because there was a lot of hotels being told about capacities, and this COVID strain that has hit, and there might be a worry about stuff. Come February time, end of Feb, literally Dubai lockdown, like fully locked down. When I
Jesus.
mean fully locked down, we had a curfew, 6 a.m. in the morning until I think it was 6 p.m. No one allowed out on the streets or anything. The only thing you could do was go to the hospital or go to the chemist because they're 24-hour chemists. If there was any illness, you couldn't go that way. You needed a police permit for it. It was regimental in the sense of there was drones out catching people. They changed all the speeding cameras to nabbing people from doing. They were outing people in the papers and on the news. If they were caught out, they were literally mugshots on the paper saying, "Look, massive fine." Mate, we was locked down for 2 months.
Do you know what Dubai always reminds me of whenever I see it? It always reminds me of like Mos Eisley in Star Wars. I don't know if anyone's been watching The Mandalorian, but that to me just sounds like there's stormtroopers walking around, bruv, just checking everyone. that's that's
You know what,
fucking
right?
crazy.
Honest to God, like it's one of them things. Like from the from the outside, looking at Dubai, it's a different world altogether in the sense of living here than what you would think back in the UK. People look at Dubai and they think obviously it's money, it's this, that, and the other. Don't get me wrong, it is full of money here at the same time. But you can have an amazing life here if you want to. You can have the best of everything if you wanted. You can do this, that, and the other. There's loads of things I don't agree with here, but there's a lot of things I do agree with, especially like we was in a position here compared to the UK that come June time, May, end of May, beginning of June, we was out of lockdown. We was fine. Like we was out on the streets. Everything was open. Clubs were open. Well, not clubs, but bars, restaurants. You could go and do whatever you needed to do. Whereas other countries struggled with it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until recent times, until like you said before, and about the influencers coming over Christmas time, because obviously what happened in the UK. The only reason why that happened was obviously the borders were open. They need it for tourism here, big time. And the influencers came over. A lot of Brits came over, out partying because they could, you know what the Brits are like as well. They don't give a shit. Like in that sense, like they don't care. There's no sort of law. There's no sort of rules. It's their rule or no rule. Here, you have to abide by the rules. In that sense, I think it's a good thing because it's less trouble here. A lot less trouble than back in the UK. I found in the 16 months I've been here. But also as well, the press, Dubai got a bad press from the UK with the influencers coming over, and as soon as that happened, bang, they shut everything down. So
Mm.
we're out of sorts again, all of us in the sense of our industry, because of what's happened with people coming over and things. But then again, they let it happen because they needed it for tourism. So it's a
Yeah.
bit of a catch-22.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
obviously, I imagine a big part of the industry isn't, let's just say, isn't locals going to raves.
You
Given
know what? You'd be
Dubai's
surprised though.
really,
You honestly, you'd be surprised. Like that's the thing with over here is the thing about Dubai. The perception of Dubai is it's a Muslim country. You won't have the locals doing this. You won't have the locals doing that, or blah blah blah. Don't get me wrong. It is strict,
yeah,
not as strict as the other Emirates, but you do get the locals going out partying. You do have the clubs opening. You do. There's a lot of alcohol here. There's everywhere's got alcohol in the sense of like hotels, bars, clubs, and stuff like that. There's probably more alcohol here than there is back in the UK. I think because you're confined to certain spaces. But it goes off here. Like the clubs actually go off it, and it's a good vibe. And it's actually really good to actually see. I was talking to someone about this quite recently as well. It's actually really good to see people actually enjoy themselves regardless of being on drugs in a club than just on alcohol or just not drinking, because obviously the Muslims won't drink, but they'll go to a club and party till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're teetotal.
yeah. That's yeah. I actually like that. I think that's I'd like to see it. I've partied. I did a year of no drinking, and I haven't touched any South American supplements for quite a long time myself. So I do get the appeal of teetotal partying, and it was always something that when I wasn't drinking, and I was out with people who were drinking, even some of my closest friends, I was like, these people are pricks. You know, like just it's a different vibe when people are on that. So yeah, no, I see the appeal, and yeah, hopefully things can get back to normal for you sooner rather than later. What's the latest on it? Because the thing with Dubai, I kind of noticed as well is like they would never ever hit, even with the amount of travel and people coming in and stuff like that. They would never hit as bad as us and other places in Europe and stuff like that. Is that a question? Do you think of the climate and the weather and less crap being spread around in hot weather? Or is it just how strict they've been and the testing and stuff like that? Because
Mate,
I remember I remember reading they were doing a lot of extra testing out there as well, and they were quite cautious anyway at airports and things like that.
yeah, they were the thing they've got here is they've got a lot of tourism here, so you're constantly getting people from all around the world coming through. So they have been extra cautious with it, um, especially over the last say couple of months where it spiked a lot here compared to how it was. I think it spiked more here now over the last couple of months than it did at the beginning of
Yeah,
COVID. They just tried to contain it, obviously, like the rest of the world did. Um, and they I can't fault them. They done what they needed to do, and we was one of the first countries to come out of lockdown, and in that sense, do you know what I mean? With it all, and we was sort of back to some sort of normality. Yeah, wearing masks and stuff like that. Problem with Dubai, well, not a problem with Dubai is if Dubai say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. End of. Like
yeah,
if they got bad press on a Tuesday about the influencers coming off, it was in the Daily Mail or something like that. By the Wednesday, there was a tweet going. They don't do anything but tweet. They will tweet, entertainment shut down, gone, bang. That was it. Literally because they got bad press on a Tuesday. Come Wednesday, gone. And if you don't,
Jesus.
it's a massive fine. There is no like, there's no,
Great
there's
area. There's no stupidity.
no,
There's like,
no, there's not. They say they're going to do something, they're going to do it, and then they'll tell you you won't hear anything from about a month, and then all of a sudden they go, right, we're going to ease the restrictions, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, bang bang bang, and then that's how it works, and then you have to wait for another thing. I think the 28th of Feb gone was the latest government talks, and there was people there was whispers saying that the entertainment would have started back 1st of March. That's what we was told. I think everyone got a little bit excited about it and stuff like that. And then basically it came out on the 1st of March that it's not nothing's happening until they're not going to review it again until Ramadan, which is in 5 weeks time now, 4 weeks time I think it is. But again, over here during Ramadan there's no music, no entertainment. So that's Ramadan's 4 weeks. So we're looking middle of May until we potentially get back to some sort of thing. But I think they've vaccinated like 70% of the population already. So
Yeah, I know out in the Middle East, I know Israel's been killing it with the vaccines,
Mhm.
and certain Middle East countries, I think Bahrain are shooting ahead as well. So yeah, and it's a good thing. It's the one thing that we've actually got right here is the vaccine scheme. It's the one thing that's actually gone well, whereas everything
Yeah, yeah.
else has been total and utter dog shit from the get go. And I've discussed that at length on the last couple of podcasts, so I won't get too bogged down into it. But before the lockdown happened, pre-COVID and stuff, what were the venues like that you were playing at, and how did you kind of get into working over there with the people that you're currently hooked up with?
Do you know, it's completely different to the UK in the sense of venues and stuff like that. Obviously, there's a lot of outdoor venues, a lot of indoor venues that you wouldn't even know were there. You'll be very surprised. Of most venues are in hotels over here, but you could go into a hotel and it could be gold painted walls, gold statues. You go to the 17th floor and it's like you're in Shoreditch. Like you just walk out and it's literally you're in this massive warehouse and it's just like, fuck, where's that come from? Like massive sound system in there, people just in there just partying for fun. But then you can go to a bar and then you're looking over the Burj Khalifa or the Burj Al Arab and you're playing sort of soulful house and stuff like that. And you've got like people suited and booted in there just there for the gram and stuff. It's very there's everything here for everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like I got here in August 2019, and I met Adam Cotier because he was running Industrial Avenue, and his to be honest, with you, Industrial Avenue was different level over here. It was in the Westin Hotel down in the marina, and it was very much they brought the Shoreditch feel to it, very grimy, very dirty sort of look. But when you walk through the hotel, it was completely the opposite with it. But you go in there, it was going off like there was a proper vibe in there. I think that closed at like 5 in the morning. Met a couple of people through there. Met my girl Jen, who I work with now quite a bit. I do a night here called House of Queens with her, and loads of other bits and pieces. If I didn't meet her when I was here, I wouldn't have 3/4 of the stuff that I've had because she has helped me massively. So I'm a little sister now, but she helped me out massively since I've been here. So
It's good. It's good to make them connections, and yeah, shouts out to Adam. I knew he was over there. Obviously, me and him go back quite a way,
yeah,
like 10 years or whatever. So, yeah, I'm really happy to see he's out there doing as well as he has been. It's great to see, and yeah, hopefully, mate. Hopefully, things can start getting back a little bit more to normal for you. In terms of what you had going on before you left here and the gigs you came back for, you said you came back for some gigs at the start of last year. Are you still, when things are opened up again, are you still looking to travel back and forth and do as much as possible internationally, or is it going to be a case of just slow building in Dubai when things reopen and wait and see what happens?
no, do you know what? I'm literally the travels as soon as it's back on, I'll be traveling again. Like I came back in January, not this year, last year, to do the garage brunches because I played for the garage brunch here in Dubai. And then when I go back to the UK, if I'm back, they'll put me on the thing as well. Even though I don't play garage anymore, but I do like messing around with it. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of that sense, I went. I was meant to be. Do you know what? COVID sort of obviously fucked a lot of people over with stuff. I was back and forth, obviously, with Ministry of Sounds, touring around the world for them. That's gone now. The tours are gone. Mate, I had a 3 month residency lined up for Hakkasan in Vegas.
Oh.
Mate, I literally, it was an absolute joke like that. I DJ out in Belarus quite a bit. I got residency in Belarus every year, like
I
June
saw
and July.
you post something about your gigs in Minsk have been your favorite gigs to ever play. What events are you playing for in fucking Minsk?
Right. So Ministry of Sound asked me about 2 years ago to go to Minsk, right? So basically, when I signed to Ministry, they put me as obviously Blaise and then representing the brand and stuff like that. So I would go as Blaise, represent the Ministry brand, so I could go sort of play the tech house that I play normally, or if I go to say like the student nights or whatever, if they were to hold a night, I would go and do that. Obviously, as you know, being a DJ yourself, there's a lot of fucking egos, a lot of pricks in this industry.
Hence why I would now refer to myself as an ex-DJ. Yes.
Yeah. With like the likes of myself, I don't think I'm bigger and better than any other DJ. I don't think I know what I can do, and if I have to change up the way I play to suit a certain brand because of who I'm representing, I'm going to do that. Full stop. So if I have to go down a commercial element of it, I'll go down a commercial element. There is a limit to obviously what I will do and won't do. But when
So
you're
you're
representing,
not playing a Gangnam Style and stuff like
no, none of that sort of stuff.
that.
A bit of ABBA. But no, but you know, like you might have to go down the more commercial side of
Yeah.
things, obviously like the ministry compilations and stuff like that.
You
So
were
I've got a
doing
phone.
the History for a little bit as well, weren't you?
Yeah, done
Yeah.
Kiss for a bit.
Yeah.
I used to love Kiss doing that for them. It was fun. But yeah, done the ministry thing, and then I got a phone call from them, and they said to me, "Blaise, I've got this massive gig for you in Belarus." I was like, "Josh, where the fuck's Belarus?" Like, he's like, "I don't know." I was like, "I mean, you don't know? You're sending me there. I don't even know where it is myself." So I had to Google where it was, found out where it was. I was, what we got to do? And he's like, "I ain't got a clue. I just need you to go because I only trust you to go and do the job for me." I'm like, no worries. So there's only 2 flights that go out, Jay, right? 2 flights that go out, one on a Thursday and one on a Sunday, I think. I think there's like one plane a day that goes out on a Thursday and a thing, right? Mate, I've left my fucking luggage on the plane, right? So I get to Belarus, I've left my luggage on the plane, right? Didn't realize it. I was like, oh shit. And obviously, I mean, there's kind of no one speaks English over there as well because it's proper
Yeah,
like Eastern
that's
Europe,
yeah. That's how that's like
proper.
yeah, that's as sort of that's about as rusky as you can possibly get, I think.
Yeah,
There's
basically. So obviously, I don't know what's happening. So I get there anyway, speak to the embassy because this party was part of the embassy. They do a thing called like the best of like Britain or something. They bring a load of like British culture to Belarus and sort of introduce the culture to. I think it's a brilliant thing to be fair to actually doing it to see it and to be involved in it is just amazing. I'll be honest with you. So I've gone there anyway, met them all, spoke to them. They managed to sort my clothes out, and I ended up going shopping and getting bits and pieces for the next day. Anyway, they take me to this venue to do a sound check the next day. I think I got there on the Thursday. I think it was the Friday the party was, and I'm talking to one of the tour managers or one of the event things. Well, now how many are you expecting throughout the day? She went 70,000. I was like, pardon? She's like 70,000. I was like, pardon? Like 70,000, 70,000. And she's like, yeah. I went, what? She went through the day, yeah, like for the whole day or whatnot. No worries. Anyway, I've gone out for the day, looking around the place, doing whatever, seeing the attractions and stuff. Came back, went back to the hotel, and I think I was on like a 10 to 11 or something. So I was closing the set. And I think Sian Evans was like a massive Welsh singer. Like she's done like loads of like drum and bass stuff, and she's like massive in Eastern Europe. She played before me. So I've been escorted round the back of this place, obviously to this stage bit. And I turn up and I go up the stairs. Sian comes off, and they've got these spotlights obviously on me, and I can't see out properly. I can only see like to the left and right to him. Anyway, I get up to the thingy, look out, go into the decks. They introduce me. They're obviously speaking in Russian. Introduce me, and the lights drop down. I look down, mate. There's about 20,000 people standing there. I absolutely shit my pants. I was like, fuck, like. Like I don't know what to do. I know what I was going to do, but you know, like I don't get nervous. The only time I've ever got nervous is DJing at a wedding or a corporate party when I was doing like events back in the day. I don't really get nervous DJing in clubs or bars because it's just
I'm exactly the same. I
no, it's like
hated parties and the corporate stuff, but put me in a club, bar, bit dingy,
second
whatever,
nature.
happy.
It's second nature, and you know what you're doing. When it comes to the other, it's sort of like, man, I've never been as nervous as this. I was playing house music. I knew what I had to do, but it was just the biggest crowd I sort of played at to that time. Done it, went off. It was actually a really good party and stuff like that. They really enjoyed it. Anyway, I went to like the VIP, like where the embassy lot was sitting down and stuff. They then turned around to me and they said, "Look, can I book you through Blaise instead of booking you through ministry? Because obviously we can't afford to pay the ministry brand to come next year." And I was like, "Look," I said, "I'm happy with it. Let me speak to ministry because I didn't want to do the dirt on ministry at the same time with it." I got back anyway. I got a letter of recommendation from the top embassy brass. They sent a mad letter to ministry saying how much I represented ministry and how happy they were about the situation. I explained to ministry, I said, look, they want to book me as well. They were like, Blaise, just go for it. Just do what you got to do, sort of thing. They put me for the Commonwealth Games the following year in Minsk. So I played for the Commonwealth Games in Minsk for him. And then I played the British party the following year. Mate, I paid 35,000 people.
Wow.
like in literally in this like big street party thing, out of this world. And it's just one of them things there where I didn't expect it. Do you know, like I've gone in there not knowing. Whereas when you turn up to a club, you know it's either going to be full, it's going to be empty, but it's a club. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be full. You're just thinking, I've gone to a different country, a street party, not knowing what to expect to be playing in front of thousands of people.
Going to that sort of country as well, like I'd be sitting there not knowing if I was walking into a, Hostel 4 or whatever the next
Yeah,
Hostel movie is going to be. Do you know? Because it's just like Belarus is not the sort of gaff that you just randomly end up in. It's funny though, because during the first COVID lockdown, it reminded me of you so much because the only football that was still on telly was the Belarus Premier League. And every time I would turn the telly on, everyone would be like, "Oh, the Belarus team's on this. It's on this channel. Go watch the football." Like, because we were all clucking to watch ball, and then I put it on and be like, "Oh yeah, Blaise played in Belarus." Like, it just
they must be the only men that live in Belarus, by the way, because it's just full of women. Honest to God, mate, Belarus is just full of women.
blimey.
Like,
But see, that makes me even more nervous. That it's like another installment of Hostel. You're just going to get tricked to going into
I
some.
did think that when I was going over, I did think that as well.
Mate,
No, I can't call it honestly, mate. It's actually the people there are lovely, the vibes there. It's different. You know what I mean? It's different to anything I've actually really done. Do you know what I mean? Like I've traveled about DJing in all sorts of places, but there it's just I don't know. It's just I think it's not. I didn't expect anything from it originally. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why every time I go back, it just blows my mind even more in the sense of shit. They're nuts. Like it's decent.
fingers crossed you get back out there as soon as possible, mate. And again,
Oh,
hopefully you get back here and get to play some more sets back here soon. And
I'm looking forward to coming back and playing again in the UK as well, man. I've
yeah,
missed.
I'm looking forward to things. I mean, I don't really after Ibiza, we went to when did we go to Ibiza? 2018. Um, After then, I kind of not given up on going out, but I've been to a couple of festivals, but it has to be like the proper right thing for me to go to now. But even I'm sort of like, yeah, I'm seeing some of the festivals, the lineups and the bookings and stuff that, DJ friends are telling me they're getting for the rest of the year. And I'm like, yeah, do you know what? None of us have done anything for the last 18 months. And even me for quite a while before that, I haven't been anywhere apart from, concerts and stuff. So I'm quite looking forward to hitting up, maybe one or two things before the end of the year, see how things pan out. Um, Going back in time a little bit, where did you kind of start off? Was you because one of the themes of the podcast is I've had a lot of ex-Pirate Radio DJs on, and DJs that and I'm going to be having more DJs on that are actually involved in running stations and stuff like that. So, was Pirate a big thing for you coming up, or did you come up in a different route to everyone else?
Yeah, no, I come up in Pirate. I was on Mac FM. I was on Delight. I was on Bashment. Where else was I? Freeze. I was on Freeze FM. What else
And
was
they've
I?
just done a documentary about Freeze as well that I'm kind of waiting with bated breath to watch because there's quite a few interesting characters on there. So
Yeah,
looking forward to
I've heard
seeing that.
about it. Ain't that thingy that's done that?
I think it's Ashley's
Oh,
put it
what's his
together.
name? Yeah, I see that because Lee, Master Lee was speaking on it. So I see something on his Insta.
Yeah, there's a couple of trailers for it up on YouTube, so looking forward to that. But yeah, it's one of the sort of reoccurring themes that I've had with, I've had a couple of other DJ guests on, and one of them was, DJ BQ who ran True FM, and it's been really interesting conversation to see which way people come up, and even people that potential guests that I've spoken to about coming on, everyone's who's a DJ has kind of come through that London pirate scene and
Yeah.
progressed. In your case, progressed to Minsk and Dubai.
You know what? It's crazy. It's like I've gone. Obviously, I had a gap, didn't I? So I started when I was 15. I'm
Yeah.
41 now. I started when I was 15. Done it for 5 years. Gave up for like 12 or 13 years, and it weren't. I only started back because Steph started Tough Love,
Yeah.
and he
So
asked
yeah,
me to
for
some
clarity,
gigs.
Steph's brother is Blaise's brother is Steph, one half of Tough Love. So, and I've spoken to him, and we are going to get him on as well. So that'll be cool to catch up. But yeah. So if anyone who knows about Tough Love, is one of the reasons that you came back with a bit of a bang.
Yeah, it was covering his because he started with Alex. So that's when Tough Love started in like 2012, 2011, 2012. And obviously he was picking up for him. And then he asked me to cover some gigs for him and stuff. And I was like, I don't even know how to turn CDJs on because I'm so used to mine. I was like, I don't even know what to do. And he was like, look, I bought it for you. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll give you CDs, blah, blah, blah. So I covered a couple of things from in Mayfair. And then I've done a couple of gigs in Shoreditch. I played at McQueen's and then a couple other little places around there. And then I sort of got a buzz for it again, like to actually get back into it. And I remember, obviously, with Have a Word and doing that, and obviously meeting you, and then obviously with Eamon and stuff like that. I sort of just, do you know, for me, I sort of kept myself to myself at the same time. Like, I wanted to succeed in doing something, and I've done it. I say I've done it my way. I've sort of just gone from, I'm going to say, I've progressed in the sense of strength to strength. In the sense, I'm not where I want to be. I want to be a lot. I want to be a lot higher than what I am. But I've never dipped in that sense. It's gone year
It's
after
been,
year.
yeah, it's been one of
It's
them,
steady.
like you look at a graph, it just sort of goes up in a
Yeah,
nice diagonal line. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that for me, that's good for me, and I'm happy the way it's worked for me. Do you know what I mean? I ain't giving up. I'm still grafting my ass off with it, and a lot of shit's happened over the last couple of years, especially in my production and stuff like that, and who I've signed to, and music that's coming out, and what's been released, and stuff like that. So, and obviously the gigs have got better and better as well, and I think that keeps me going and keeps me positive about the future and shit like that. Really.
Yeah, it's been good to watch. And I remember you came to, I'm not even sure if you'd started DJing again at the time. It might have been around the same time, but I remember when I first met you, you came to one of mine and Eamon's nights at Pasha, and you showed up
Yeah.
for that, and you came in there. And then I sort of remember, because I know Eamon, you and Steph go way back a bit, and I kind of met Steph around the same time I met you. And um I remember when Tough Love started and they started progressing, and then you came along. And I think I vaguely remember you mentioning to me at the time, like, we might have done a radio show somewhere or whatever. I know you came to my show on Flight a couple of times. And I remember you
Yeah.
saying, like, I don't want people to see me as I'm doing something because I'm like Steph's brother. When
Yeah.
in reality, I know you started way before he fucking did
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it's been great the way you have managed to, you've still worked with him, but you haven't ridden his coattails, and you've built your own name, whilst also, like, just seeming to, as you say, make that progression and go through things in your own way at your own pace, and still build yourself up to where you are now. And
Yeah.
yeah, you say you're not where you want to be, but mate, sitting back, having looked at everything you've done, and I still, even though we don't talk all the time, I still follow
Yeah.
all your socials and that. I still see everything you're doing. It's been great to watch, mate, and
I
I'm
appreciate it.
I'm really happy that you've cracked on as much as you have. And Steph as well, obviously. I mean, what he's been able to accomplish in the last 10 years has been phenomenal. But I'm really, really happy that you're satisfied up to a point as to where you are with everything, and nothing but the best for the future, man. It's been great. It's been really great to watch. Have there been have there been any times where you've wanted to kind of jack it in, or is it kind of just been head down and just keep plowing no matter if it's dipped?
Mate, do you know, it's just head down and just keep plowing. Like I remember like even starting off when I was like trying to get back in and trying to get the gigs and trying to do what I've been doing and stuff, and playing in front of like two or three people in an empty venue. Do you know what I mean? And that sort of happening, and then you just think to yourself, "Fucking hell, what am I doing?" Like you go home like heads between your legs. You're like, you think that was fucking pointless. Like didn't even get paid for it for one. Like I've wasted my time in that sense. But then I go and play another gig the following week, and it's a packed house.
Mm.
There's been times where I've had loads of gigs. Like I had residency in Coventry. Like Coventry was unbelievable. The residency I had in Coventry at the time. I'm thinking of, what was it, 2014, 2015, for my mate Dawkins. He had a venue up there, mate. Unbelievable. This place was. But just my little girl was born. But yeah, she was born to 2012. So I didn't start him until like 2013, 2014. And I was driving back and forth to Coventry after having a gig in Clapham, driving to Coventry on a Friday night, finishing that, coming home, watching the kids, driving back to Clapham to do 2 gigs in Clapham, then drive to Coventry on Saturday night, finish my gig at 5 a.m. to drive back to number 65 at in Vauxhall. Do you remember 65 in Vauxhall?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
do that, mate. I've done that for about 9 months.
I
I
remember you were working full time at the time as well, and I remember having a conversation with you when you were talking about jacking in work because it was getting like just
killing me.
too much.
It was killing me. But the fact of the matter was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, do I just quit doing what I'm doing, like music, because it's fucking gonna throw me into the ground, or do I quit my 9 to 5 and just pursue what I want to do, which I never really wanted to originally, because when I first got into DJing, it was just a hobby, in that sense. When I got back into DJing again, it was just for money. Like it was I was working at the time. It was a bit of easy cash in that sense. And then all of a sudden I got a buzz for it, and I started thinking, do you know what? I could actually do something with this, and just keep going. And I just done it. I thought, you know what? I jacked my job in 9 to 5. I would end up looking after my kids full time and working on my music, set up my own entertainment business, like DJing at corporates, weddings, pie. Didn't want to do that. The only reason why I done it was because I wanted to concentrate on music.
And you have to
And
pay at the end of the day. You have to take them gigs to pay the bills in the in between time
I
where
had
you're
to
not
do it.
working.
Yeah,
Simple
at
as.
that time, like my mortgage and everything, I had to do it. So it was one of them. And then it got to the stage where I was like, do you know what? I want to get to the next level now. I always want to progress. There's always a progression that I want to do. I'm happy with last year. Now I want to go to the next level. So I started producing.
What was the first
And
one you made? Was it the I Refuse dub? Was that the first one? I can't remember now.
yeah, was the first one I made. Yeah, that was the first one I made. That and then damn, damn if I shuffle. Oh, do
Yep.
you remember that one? I don't give a damn if
Yeah,
you shuffle.
yeah. I think I've still got it.
Yeah, and then yeah, I just started hitting them. And then I was like, do you know what? This is what I've got to do to sort of get to that next sort of level with it. And it wasn't until 2 year, 2 year, 3 year ago now, 3 year ago, I think, that I met my music partner who I work with now, Theo. I met him at a wedding. So my ex-wife used to teach him, and we went to one of her students' weddings or something like that, and he was there. And obviously he knew what I was doing. He makes like pop music and stuff like that. And then he said, "Oh, let's get into the studio together." I was like, "All right, cool. Let's get in." We got into the studio together. Obviously, I know the house side of it. He knows the pop and stuff, and we sort of worked, and we just gelled straight away. Literally, just gelled straight away, with what we was doing. He sent it to his manager, who a woman called Jinjin. He sent it to her, and she was like, "Who's Blaise? Like, what's the deal with him?" Sort of thing. And then she looked up at me, and she really liked what I was doing. And then obviously to listen to the music I was doing with Theo. And then we had a meeting. She was like, "Look, I want to manage you." I was like, "All right, cool." And this is what we're going to do, and blah blah blah. So she managed, and then for the rest of history, like signed to Universal Music with her, and then loads of bits and pieces, like all the recent stuff that's happened with like TV and stuff as well. So which has been
What
good.
have you been? What have you been doing with TV?
So I had a track with a girl called Good Body, with Sweetie Irie and a girl called No No. So we had that played on like Love Island, Strictly Come Dancing,
Ah, yeah, I
some
remember now. Yeah,
yeah, some sex show on like in Channel 4, mate, everything like radio, like you name it. Do you know what I mean? It was on loads, like Diverse used it. Is it Diverse? The Ashley Banjo? He used it
diversity.
for
Yeah,
his campaign. Diversity, yeah, he used it for his campaign. Um, there's talks of it now being on another TV show, which I'm just waiting to hear about as a theme tune. And then obviously Get Up came out after that, and we had a lot of love with Get Up as well. Obviously Tyson Fury was using it during the lockdown sessions and stuff. Then Kiss was battering it, Radio One was battering it. So
cash them
yeah,
PRS checks, mate. Cash them PRS checks.
mate, I tell you what, they're not what you think they are. Yeah,
You forget I
unless you're
run. You forget I run a label, mate. I know how that
yeah,
works.
I
So
know, yeah, exactly. Mate, unless you're the dog, it's like it's just literally, oh, I'll take that £6.
yeah,
Thanks.
unless you're Justin Bieber getting four of your records played every half an hour on the hour, like it's just it's not happening.
Yeah, pointless, yeah. But do you know what? It's given me the opportunity to mix with certain people, to be involved with certain labels, to get the eye of people as well. Do you know what I mean? Like
Again, it's another step on that graph of the diagonal line, mate. That's going up. Yeah.
course it is. And I do writing camps for Universal now as well. So before I left, we was at Abbey Road. Like I've dreamt of being at Abbey Road doing something. Do you know what I mean? Even walking in there,
Yeah,
getting something from the vending machine. But I actually went there on a writing camp. Like it was amazing. We've got a couple of tracks there that have been sniffed around for TV adverts and stuff. So it's just a waiting game, really.
mate, it's so sick, so good to hear. It really is. Um, is Dubai the permanent home from now on? Then no desire to come back.
Do you know what? When I went back, because I went back in June. Yeah, I went back in June. So I moved here the August 19, and then obviously I split, I separated from my wife in the January 2020. Then got locked down with her. That was fun. And then it got to like the May time, June time. She was working, like work. She was grafting her ass off. To be fair to her, in the sense of she works in schools and stuff, and obviously the online learning and stuff. My kids weren't allowed out because it was one of the strict laws they had here about no kids could go out, just in case they got it, and obviously the elderly and stuff like that. So I took them back to the UK from June to August, and I did contemplate on staying back when I was back, in the sense of because I was with a family, I was with my friends. I was sort of my kids were enjoying life there and stuff. And I sat down with Steph, I sat down with my brother, I sat down with my mum and dad, sat down with my little brother Mitchie, and I was talking to him about it, and I think it was Steph that turned around and said, he was like, "Bro, this ain't real life. What we're doing now is not real life. If you was still touring and I was still touring, we'd be FaceTiming each other. Like the kids wouldn't be playing, the cousins wouldn't be playing with cousins. You wouldn't see mum and dad. You wouldn't see Mitch. You wouldn't see your friends. You're seeing them now because no one's working.
Yeah,
Like, and what are you gonna get when you're back in the UK, mate? I got back to the UK. I swear to God, I got back on June the 3rd last year. On the 5th of June and on the 4th of June and the 5th of June, someone got stabbed outside my house and someone got shot outside my house. In 2 days, and that was when I was back, and I was like, what am I doing?
London
Do you know
life.
what I mean?
Where
Yeah, exactly. So I've come here, and I'm like, is it real life? I can make it real life at the same time because there's so much to do here musically. For me, my kids have the best life in the world. Do you know what I mean? They finish school, they're at different clubs. My little girl's doing like musical drama. My boy's doing it. My boy's doing football now. My girl's doing netball. We're at the beach every weekend. We're at the pool like every after school every day before clubs. I wouldn't get that back in the UK. Do you know what I mean? You're governed by the weather as well at the same time.
I was going to say, I think a little bit of a factor of you being here in June to August when it was 33 and feeling nice, and then
Yeah.
reality bites, and it comes to September and it's 5 degrees outside.
Exactly.
I think that's the reason you went home, mate. Let's be real.
Yeah, got fuck this. Freezing. Straight to that plane.
The other side of it as well is you're not you're not in Minsk for one, but you're also not in, you're not living in Australia or New Zealand where it's like 24 foot 36 hours of travel. Do you know what I mean? If you need to come home for any reason, do you know what I mean? You got to, help someone out in the family or whatever. Dad's birthday, mum's birthday, things like that. You're not that far away.
7 hour journey. Do you know what I mean? It take me 6 hours to get to fucking Hillingdon from Shepherd's Bush on the A40. Do you know what I mean? Because of traffic. But it's not. Do you know what? It's a 7 hour difference, like in the sense of a flight, and it's nothing. And to be fair, it's not that expensive to fly back. So
because it's so common, there's so many planes to go back and forth from London to Dubai from every London airport as well. You're spoiled for choice.
Yeah. So my plan was when I came here was obviously DJ here as much as I can do what I can do, travel as well, because Dubai's a perfect hub musically. Because to be fair, for me, I'd love to be able to I'd love to be able to DJ, say like DJ in UK, which I've done, DJ in Europe, which I've done. Yeah, I want to continue to do that as well. But I'd love to branch out as well, DJ in Asia, DJ in India, DJ in Pakistan, DJ in Australia, DJ in New Zealand, DJ in Singapore. From Dubai, it's 3 hours to India. Do you know what I mean? Like to for that opportunity for me here is perfect. Whereas if I was come back to the UK, it's 10 hours to get there, and vice versa. Obviously, it's like go US is 17 hours round. Like,
yeah, but it's wherever you are, there's a difference in, just as you say, like the central home base that you're at. It's a different set of options. And as you say, being in London, you can go to Ibiza, you can do this, but you can do that from Dubai still, and you get the added option of going to everywhere on the other side of it as well. So yeah, I get what you're saying. It makes total sense.
Yeah, so it's like perfect. My plan was when I came here, obviously to DJ as much as I can, but then every 5-6 weeks come back for say like a long weekend, so I can get into the studio with Theo, see management, and just crack on, see my family, see my friends, just like say like come back on a Thursday, leave on a Monday sort of thing. Flights are near enough, like I said, it's like 300 quid, 350 quid, you know what I mean? A flight to come back. I'd staying with my mum anyway, do you know what I mean? Seeing everyone, doing whatever I need to do, then come back and just keep it that way. Obviously, COVID's just fucked that completely. I'm literally not worked properly since I've been here. So I've not been able to live my life, the Dubai life that I've wanted to live. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of, I'm not saying Dubai life in the sense I want to go out popping champagne and shit like that, because that's not me. I've never been that sort of person. Even when I DJ, I don't drink. I've never touched a drug. I don't drink. I go to my club. I go to a club an hour before and suss out the vibe. I leave half hour later. Do you know what I mean? I fuck off home. Like, it's not, I mingle with people and stuff like that. It's just, I've done that. I just want to go do what I want to do, professional as I can be, and then go back. So
yeah, I think that's the case for so many DJs, mate. I mean, the older I got, initially it was one of them ones where if I was playing a warm-up set, I'd get to the club for, things kick off at 9 o'clock. I'd be there for 8:30. I'd have a drink. I'd do my early warm-up set or whatever, and then I'd probably still be there at 3 in the morning, out of my nut. I've spent every little crumb that I earned doing my shitty little warm-up set, and do you know what I mean? I'm probably hanging off the bar at Blag or something like that, just completely off my box, not knowing what planet I'm on, thinking how the fuck am I getting home? But yeah,
so that's a great night though. If you end up at Blag, mate, you know you've had a good night.
not if you fucking started there at 8:30, you didn't.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, the older I got, it was like, what time am I playing tonight? Or 2 a.m. till 4 a.m. It's just like, I'm getting there at 1:57. I'm leaving at 4:02. So yeah, I was, I kind of got to that stage of it. And as I say, it's one of the things that I'm just like, I'm so not fussed. I like my bed. I like being at home. Lockdown hasn't been, I mean, there's been times where it has been difficult because I've had a lot of personal stuff going on over the last year or so with family and whatnot. But yeah, for me, the whole staying home thing has not really been that hard. Like I'm kind of a nest person. Do you know what I mean? I built my little environment in cotton wool and that, and I'm happy as a pig in shit for the most part. Just get out and have my walks and whatnot, and I'm good. But yeah, I was kind of the same, as I say, towards the end of my, I haven't hung up the headphones quite yet, but towards the end of actually playing out and stuff like that, I was the same. It's just like get there just before and leave just after, because I can't be asked of it. So I get it. But yeah, as I say, mate, again, hopefully we can just start doing all of this stuff again as normal. And there's a couple of events that I was talking to last year that were doing like the social distance kind of thing. And people were having to sit down at tables and whatnot. And, a couple of promoters said to me, I want to come play at this, come play at that. And I was like, I do, but I haven't played anywhere for a year. And I don't really want the first set I play to be going back somewhere playing to people that are sitting down.
Yeah.
Like there's something in my brain that just I can't really handle that. So that wasn't for me. Did you do any of those when you were back over in the summer? Were you playing anywhere, or was it just with the family and that?
I came back. When I came back, I didn't actually play anywhere. No, I'd done a couple of private party things that went on, which I shouldn't have done, but done them. But when I came back to Dubai had that. It was sit down. So the residencies I got when I was here was everyone had to sit down. The problem you've got with it is it's alcohol. Like, people want to go to a club to obviously drink and dance, even if it's a brunch or whatever they say it is. They're fed with alcohol. You hear decent music, you're going to want to get up and party. Do you know what I mean? And that's the problem. It's been difficult. Obviously, people sitting down watching, you can see them moving and edging to move. As soon as you stand up, the bouncers are just on it. They're flashing the lights at them, like the lasers are on them, telling them to sit down.
Yeah, I had that conversation on episode 1 with my mate Sai Says from Soul Heaven, and he was saying that he'd done a few of the brunches and whatnot, and he's like, bouncers are on them. And I said to him, at the end of the day, the bar managers, it's their license, it's their livelihood, it's the bouncer's job. Like everyone's sort of tied into all this kind of stuff. But yeah, as I say, hopefully we'll be out of it. We'll be out of it fairly soon. With your productions and stuff like that, is it a case of, you're just sending your stems back and forth and just working on stuff with each other that way?
Yeah, so I make like the techie stuff. I make myself. Obviously, just do whatever I do, get an idea, and then just do that, and then I'll send it back to him. I'll send it back to Theo. Theo will say, yeah, like it, blah blah blah. He'll put his little touch to it if he wants to, or whatnot. Vice versa. He does like more the commercial side of things, and then sends it to me, and then I put my little touch. So it works. We've done a lot of Zoom stuff, um, and bits and pieces. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really over the last say 2 3 months. I've sort of taken my foot off the pedal a bit with making music. I haven't been in the headspace for it. Be straight up honest with you, with trying to find my next move with work, and obviously with being fucked up over COVID. You know what I mean? 1 minute I'm working, next minute they're shutting things down. So I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? Plus, I've got loads of music there. I've got about 100 tracks in there, Jake.
Yeah.
Like at a minute, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I've got about 100 tracks in there,
Are
and I can't
you
really do with it.
are you releasing everything via Universal, or are you looking for just other platforms or anywhere that will just sort of any brands that are, sort of showing an interest?
So what we're doing at the minute is I'm releasing under my manager's label Gin. So Gin runs her own label called Ginseng. You've probably seen me post like
Yeah.
on the social stuff like that. So that's her label who affiliated with Universal. So we're under the umbrella of Universal for her label. So obviously we release under hers with it, because then we get the backing of Universal. She signed to Polydor as well. So they back us as well. So we have that sort of backing. So for us, that's the commercial element of it.
Yep.
In that sense, when I say commercial, not it's the crossover, like we would like the radio friendly stuff. And then with the clubby stuff, the more techie stuff, we just pitch to labels that we want to sort of interested in at the same time. But then we've got, Your Army?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Your Army? So Your Army look after my stuff at the minute now as well. So we've got a thing with them where they push and help the label for us and stuff like that. So whereas I'd love to be able to release, say, like every 6 weeks, or I'd love to be able to push out on other labels, I'm sort of restricted to who and when. But to be fair, I trust them. At the same time, I ain't got to where I am now by myself. At the same time, they've massively helped behind the scenes, and there's loads of people that have helped behind the scenes with what I've been doing. But then again, I've been working my arse off at the same time, so we've all worked just constantly grafting. You know what I mean with it?
Yeah. Over the last couple of years, I've seen you've worked with some really, really big vocalists as well. Who have been some of the biggest names that you've been working with, like in terms of, well, I'll let you name names, but who are some of the biggest? I know, especially some of the women that you've had singing on the tracks and stuff.
Mate, Alex Mills, Kelly Lee.
Alex Mills is one of my favorite singers in house music.
She is insane,
Yeah.
insane. Kelly Lee, insane. Karen Harding, same. My next track that comes out, it comes out on the 25th of March. It's a track called Moments. Hands down, my favorite track I've ever made.
Really?
And I'm not saying when I say it, honest to God, I listen to the track and I get emotional listening to it.
That's a good sign, because I've spent a lot of time. I've never released anything under my name, but I've executive produced quite a few of the tracks that came out on our label, and sat in the studio for hours on end with the stems, doing mix downs with Eamon and everything else. And I know that even some of the tracks that I've loved the most when we've signed them, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I cannot stand to hear this song another time, because there's all these little bits. So when you can actually sit there and say that you love your own track that much, mate, that's a good sign.
Hey, that's the only track I can listen of mine over and over again and not get bored of it. Whereas there's so much of my stuff, mate. There's so much of my stuff that I've made or played, or I've made, I won't even play it because I'm just bored of listening to it. And that sounds shit, but I'm like, I've heard it so much, like where I've been in the studio doing it, or I've just been playing, and I'm like, oh, I can't even do it.
You still got to. The trouble is, in some of your sets, especially if it's on like a big event, like you have to still play your own stuff. It's the only way it's going to kind of get pressed.
Yeah, exactly. But it's this Moments track, like for me, I don't know what it is with it. Like the girl that sings on it, her name's Poppy Bascom. She's She's unbelievable. Like she was in the studio with us for Abbey Road. So she done the couple of tracks that we had to do for the advert. So we had to do an advert for Sky Sports, and then one other one as well. And absolutely got on with her. She's amazing. Like, and we said, look, do you want to get in the studio with us? She was like, yeah, cool. She's come into the studio with us, I think a week later or 2 weeks later. Got her manager, my manager, and her manager to talk, and got her in. And we done this moment. Mate, I'm not gonna lie. I sat there and she sang, and I burst into tears. I had to walk out of the room. That's how it felt to me, like with it, and it still does now. Like I play it, and I've got my kids singing it to me all the time, and I'm like, "Fuck off, get away, don't sing it." Like, go, get out. No, I'm not swearing at him, but I'm just like, "Go away." Like, my little girl's going, "Dad, are you crying?" I'm like, "No, no, of course I'm happy."
So that's out on the 25th of March, you said, yeah?
March, yeah.
Nice.
So, I'll send it to you after this. I'll send it to you.
Sweet, yeah. I'm gonna try not to cry.
I think I don't know what it is. I think the whole story of I think everything behind it. Like I was going through personal shit at the same time. The move was on. I was leaving everyone. It was that whole thing, and I think it just you sort of reminisce with it, and like the words are so apt for now as well, and that's why we've due to release it in January, and then obviously it was February, and then it was March. It was like, do you know what? Let's release it in March, because obviously the lockdown's sort of easing, and so it's perfect going into the summer, and then we're just going to push it. And like I said, the words are just so like for now at the same time with everyone.
Yeah, I find music to be very very autobiographical.
Yeah.
In a sense that it's interesting. I was talking to Eamon about this a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about different ideas for this podcast, and obviously I'm going to get him on. He's going to be one of the guests, and he was saying he'd like to do like a segment of just sitting here with a box of his records, and I will just sit here, pull out one of his random vinyl and say, right, tell me a story about this record. And he's like, I guarantee you, with every record you pull out, I could sit there and tell you, what shop I got it from, what was going on in my life at the time, why it means this to me, why it means that to me. And I think so many DJs are in a position where they can do that. And, the fact that you've got something special like that and a connection like that with one of your own records is pretty special, mate. I'm not going to lie. I'm quite jealous.
Do you know what? I think I've said it. I think I tweeted it. I think I put it on Instagram. I was like, I generally cannot wait to release it, just to have it out there as well. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, I think people can relate to the words of it, and Poppy's unbelievable in it as well. Like unreal, like Poppy is.
Yeah. So have you got any other singers lined up that you got projects you're working on projects with, or as you say, you're kind of taking a little bit of a breather from everything?
I've got loads of bits, because the problem I've got is I've got so much stuff there. I've got like a back catalogue of it. So the stuff that I've been doing at the minute, I had a Zoom session with a girl called Pillows from the US, from LA, 3 weeks ago, which went really well. Tenny Teaks, who done...
Yeah. Mate, it's some of the greatest records of the last couple of years.
Mate, well, she done my Get Up, didn't she?
Yeah, she done the tracks with Shapeshifters, Try My Love, absolutely ridiculous. When Love Breaks Down, the other track with Shapeshifters as well. Yeah, she's fantastic. So yeah, mate, that's huge if you're working with her.
Well, she done Get Up for me. She re-vocaled Get Up for us. She's done another track for me as well. I can't say the name of it because it's pretty big, to be fair. So I'm sitting on that again. Kelly Lee, Karen and Alex. I've got a couple with Alex.
Kelly's so underrated as well. I don't know how she's not like a superstar at this point.
Listen, Kelly, and you know what? She's one of the nicest girls about as well, like in the industry with it as well. She's just talented as well, like with it. I've got a lot of No. She's done obviously the Good Body with Sweetie. Unbelievable voice as well. So there's another one with her. Alika, done Click Wavy.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a couple of tracks with her. What else have I got? A lot of them. Do you know? I've got a lot of tracks with singers, writers that don't want to be artists as well, which are as good as artists that are out there at the minute, like
Mm.
with them all. They're just, it's just amazing. I've been very lucky with who I'm looked after by the same time. Like Jin's ridiculous. Like if you see Jin's back catalogue of what she's got, like who she's written for, and Jax Jones, Ray, Guetta, looking, you name it, like she's done it. Do you know what I mean? She's an absolute machine. She is. So she's got a pool of who she can get in, and she's worked her ass off to help me get to where I am, and get them people in, which I'm blessed for.
It's good, mate. It's good. You got the Santa set ready and just full to the brim, ready to go, man. It's good to hear.
Oh, my.
Um, what I've noticed is a good outlet for that is your own regular radio show again now. So what's the as we speak, you've literally just finished
Yes, I have.
your Monday afternoon slash, I suppose, what's the time difference over there? It's only 2 hours, right? So
4 hours. We're 4 hours.
4 hours. Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
4 hours.
So it's 8 till 10 Dubai time and 4 till 6 UK time.
UK
Cool.
time, yeah.
So yeah, you're what's technically a drive time show in the UK on a legal FM station, on Flex FM on a Monday. How did that come about?
Do you know what? It was really random. Like I used to go on pirate radio, like I said back in the day. I hate speaking on the mic. Like I hate talking like in front of people and stuff like that. It's always been one of my.
I've actually hosted a show for you when you were guesting on someone else's
You
show.
remember that? You remember that?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to talk. Like I genuinely didn't want to talk. I don't like doing it. I think over the last couple of years, I got a lot more confident. I think, you know, I think as my DJing's picked up, and obviously playing out a lot more, I've got a lot more confidence in the sense of being in front of people and obviously talking to people a little bit more and stuff like that. Mic wise, I still really didn't like talking on the mic. Like I said, when I've done the event side of things, mate, I used to say in my contracts, don't talk on the mic. Like I won't do it. If you want to get someone to host it or do whatever. And I remember coming back in the UK in the summer, and I went on Danny Blaise's show on Flex twice. I had a couple of interviews with him, and I've known Danny for years, get on well with him and stuff like that. And then for some strange reason, I remember I was doing something in the studio here, and I think I was checking Instagram, and Danny popped up on Instagram about Flex or something, and I was like, do you know what? Let me just message him. Just for some reason, I was like, let me just see if there's any shows going on Flex. Don't know why I thought it. I didn't think anything of it. I think I was trying to get a show here because I had a show here on not Beat FM, it's Beat FM now. There was another house music station here, and I was due to start in March last year, signed the contract in February, and then COVID hit, and then it closed down. So fucked again. So Beat FM started up over this other show, and that's what it was. I wanted to jump on Beat FM. They haven't got any spaces or anything, so I was like, do you know what? See Danny post something on Instagram, so I thought, let me just message Danny just to see if there's any things going. And messaged him, didn't get back to me till the following day. He was like, hey bro, he goes, I'll ask for you. I don't know if there's anything going or whatnot. 2 days later, he messaged me back saying, mate, he said they'd be buzzing to have you. There's a show after my show, like drive time on a Monday. You up for it? I was like, mate, fucking 100%. I was like, fuck, I got to talk. I was like, shit. So I was like, right, I got to talk. I got to do whatever I do. And then,
I'm not traveling 7 hours to host for you again, mate. It's not happening.
Mate, you would love it. To be fair, you get fed and all sorts. But no, do you know what? It was. I shit myself. The first one I've done, obviously because it's live and obviously it's a FM. So I've never done an FM like proper legal station before either. At the same time, and Flex a big look at the same time with them. Do you know what I mean? They're a good bunch of lads down there, good team, and it's a really good station to be associated with. And I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I have done. At the same time, there's a lot I need to do with it and learn with it because I'm not a broadcaster. I don't know how to do all that stuff. I've never really done like presenting. I do sound more like a pirate radio station still. I like shout outs and repeating myself continuously. But I feel a lot more confident with it and I'm loving it. Like I love Mondays, like I buzz for Mondays now.
Yeah, it's great, mate. It really is good. Yeah, it's a great time to have a fucking show, man. It's a drive time on a Monday. It's like everyone's crap, like, you know, first day back at work, people are driving home and whatnot. And I was listening to you on the way home today, and it's the first time I've actually been in a position where I'm able to sit down and listen to, just timing wise, be able to sit down and listen to your show. And yeah, lively as, mate, and music selection was good. And yeah, mate, it was an enjoyable show. Really was an enjoyable show.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Do you know what I like the fact of as well? I can play what I want to play. So
yeah,
like get loads of music sent to me, and I can try a load of stuff out, try a load of my stuff out, try a load of new stuff that's been sent to me. Also, as well, I like helping other people out as well. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of up and coming people, like the up and coming DJs, because I found it difficult trying to reach out to people and try to get bits and pieces. And if I can help someone play their track on a radio station or give someone some advice and do something to where I've either been or stuff like that. Like I speak to Steph like when I've got issues or if I've got any concerns or if I'm worried about it or need advice, and if I go straight to Steph because he's been through that shit. And he helps me out in that sense. He's been a massive influence on me getting to where I am in the sense of not doing shit for me, but helping me when I need that advice, showing me bits and pieces of production, giving me advice of what labels and so forth to go to and how to deal with certain things. So to have my own show and get people message me, oh, can you support this track? If I like the track, I like the track. I'll be honest with them. Yeah, I'll definitely support it. If I don't, look, I don't dislike it, but it's not for me, sort of thing. It's just
yeah, it's one thing I started trying to do when we had the label. It was when people would send us music. I spent a long time, probably too much time, trying to give full feedback. So like this part of the track was like this part of the track was like that, and Eamon did it as well. And sometimes we just get bogged down with trying to help, going back and forth with people. But on the other hand, some of the people went away, took the advice, came back, and just sent us bangers. Do you know what I mean? Took the track that we'd sent back to them, and they were like, all right, if that's what you think, I'll change this, and this, and then come back. And we were like, whoa, the geezer actually listened. So mate, it's worth doing. It is worth your time. And I'd say that to any DJ that's, established on your level, above, or even below. If people come to you with stuff, mate, take a little bit of time, help them out. You never, ever know what it's going to come to. And the sort of friendship you can have with people as well, I think is absolutely, astonishing sometimes, the friends you can make through music and just through having conversations with people like that. And yeah, it's something I've noticed with Steph. I'd send stuff to Steph that was on our label, and I'd be like, "What do you think of this?" And one of them he played on Kiss, so it happens like that. So yeah, no, it's good to hear. How long have you been doing the Flex show now?
Today's my 14th week.
Decent.
14th week today, I think. So.
And you say it's the first time you've ever done a legal station?
Yeah, first time. Like first time actually hosting. I've never really hosted. I don't even think when I was doing Pirate, I had Lee nicely doing it for me back in the day.
Yeah,
I've never actually hosted.
It's something that so many people I know just absolutely hate doing.
But you're good at it, though. You're very good at it, though.
I was always a better DJ I was always a better host than a DJ. It was the area that I always felt when I was young, especially because I actually started, believe it or not. And I said this on, I think it was I was a guest on another podcast and I spoke about it, and not a lot of people know, but I actually started as an MC. So I was always MCing at parties. And when I first started on radio, I was MCing, but I could always DJ as well. And my dad was a DJ, so I learned, But yeah, it always kind of carried me through shows in the early days where maybe my mixing wasn't that great. I was always able to still be entertaining and keep people going. And I spoke about it on a podcast called the Paul S podcast, and Paul's going to be coming on, I think, on the next episode. Actually, shouts out to Paul. If anyone hasn't heard it, it's on Spotify, the Paul S podcast. Go and download it. I spoke about it on there, and my obsession with radio came really early, where I used to have, do you remember Home Alone 2, where he has the little Sony Talk Boy?
Yeah.
I used to have one of them. And what I used to do with that, I was 5-6 years old tops. I used to record music on my CD player, like my stereo, and I'd host the tracks in between playing the music. Like I was obsessed with, and to this day, I don't know why. It's just like, I was always obsessed with hearing radio DJs. And obviously, when my dad being a DJ, I was obsessed with DJing, but when it came to Pirate and stuff like that, I was like, oh my God, what's this? And, MCs really impressed me. And even if it was just the most basic of bars, do you know what I mean? Like it was just, for me, it was just always a huge thing. So yeah, I was obsessed with it. So that's why I will say I'm good as a radio host, but that's why, because just pure obsession. But so many other people just ain't interested and don't like doing it. And but then I've heard, I'll tell you something. I have heard other people over the years, like the guy that I started with, Pure Cut P. He hated it at the start. It's one of the reasons I would always host a show. But now, when I listen to him now, when he does his radio shows and stuff, it sounds fucking great. So, I mean, it's only taken him 16 years, but
no, it's something that, like, even like I said, like the first show, shit myself. Second show, I felt a little more confident with it. By the third show, I was like, do you know what? I actually want to look into doing this, like, in the sense of I could see myself hosting. I ain't got a radio voice, because there is a specific radio voice a lot of people have. Do you know what I mean? My mates banter me all the time. They're like, how many am I going to say, like, in interviews and fucking thing. I remember I went on what did I go on? Rinse, Radford show on thingy. And they set up a WhatsApp. The pricks set up a WhatsApp group. How many I'm going to say in half an hour? Mate, I think I said like 27 Like, I'm like, for fuck's sake.
I'll do it on here though. I'll do it on the podcast. I keep saying things like I say like every other fucking word. It's like little things you pick up on. But the thing is when you actually listen back to yourself and you can critique what you're doing, there's something I won't bait up who it was, but there's quite a very well-known DJ in the garage scene that he was being part of a particular brand's radio station. I'll tell you about it afterwards. And he came on my show and he was like, bruv, he's like, how do I present a show? Do you know what I mean? What do I do? Sort of thing. And I just said to him, I was like, mate, do practice runs at home, listen back to yourself, critique yourself, listen to presenters who you admire, steal bits from it and just practice and just keep doing it every single fucking week. And then his shows were great. After like 6 months, he was fantastic. So that's all I'd say to you and to anyone else who's worried about talking on the mic. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, no, that's the plan as well. Do you know what I mean? I know I don't sound the greatest on there at the minute, and I know it's going to take time. But like I say, I'm not a presenter. Like, in that sense, could I fall into that bracket in a year or two's time? Probably, if I get the opportunity to do it. I'll take it at the same time. Like, Flex has given me a massive opportunity to do what I'm doing now with it, and I'm enjoying it. I actually really like it. So
I think it's very important as well, if you're going to do a show on professional radio, you fit into this bracket. You've actually got a personality and you're quite a jovial, polite person. You know, you come across really well just in general conversation. So I think, mate, the more you do it, I think the better you're going to get. And just stick with it, man. Just stick with it, and I'll be listening to it a hell of a lot more, because I enjoyed some of the tracks today as well. I haven't listened to as much like house lately. I've really just gone back to my roots, and I've just been, the only music I really download and play now, if I do live streams from home and stuff, is soulful house and disco. That's all I've really been listening to. So it was interesting for me today to lock in and listen to something a bit more techie, you know, a bit more of a sort of a tough house, almost electro-y kind of sound with some of the tracks. I was like, yeah, this is a vibe. I was like really energized on my way home. So yeah, no, it was good, mate. Really, really pucker show.
Thank you.
We've covered loads of different bases and stuff, and you know, we've gone just over an hour, which is great. And one of the shows has gone 3.5 hours. Well, I won't keep it that long, I promise.
Mate, I stay up all night, I don't mind.
But I wanted to go through, you know, a little trip down memory lane. As far back as your early pirate days, I'm assuming you were playing garage back then.
Yeah.
Who was some of your favorite garage producers back in the day?
MJ Cole.
It's almost always everyone's first answer.
MJ, like Todd Edwards, MJ. Mate, do you know the thing with MJ? Like, I was saying this. Do you know, I played the Get Twisted party at Egg. Did you go to that?
Yeah, I played. No, it wasn't the MJ Cole one. I was there when Nate was there, but you played. There was one where it was in the garden. We played in the other room, in the other big room at the back.
Yeah, that was with friend. That was oh shit, what was that one? I remember which one that was. Yeah, MJ Cole played, and he was playing bits and pieces, right, of new stuff and old stuff. His stuff does not sound out of date now.
No,
like that's how his music then is relevant now. Like it was crazy. Like to listen to him DJ and to play some of the stuff, and it's like, fuck, that fits in right now with whatever we're doing. Like it was just crazy. Like it's
It,
about MJ Pod. Um, I'll be honest with you, when I first started garage, anything EZ or Carl Brown played was like, that's me. I love that sort of thing. Um, I used to get in and listen to ISFM on a Sunday and record it, and then just buzz off it for the week. Do you know what I mean? Um, it was just, mate, it was everything. The garage just had a different feel
yeah.
back in the like early '90s, late '90s. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy. There's nothing like it, and it's conversations that I've had with previous guests, and I'm sure it will come up again more in the future as well. Is just the role that pirate radio played in London music culture and UK music culture in general, but garage in particular and garage radio stations. Like there's you look around the world and there's probably other genres in other countries that have popped up over the years, and everyone goes, oh, this is the best thing in France, or this is the best
Yeah.
thing in Italy, but it always kind of tends to be just house, and it's
Mm,
like a slightly different house. Whereas garage, especially two-step, it's like, what the fuck is that? Like it was completely different. All of these different offshoots of dubstep, grime, and all that kind of stuff there is all been born out of that sound. And yeah,
yeah.
MJ for me is up there. Obviously Wookie,
Yeah.
um,
Wicked.
Brass Tooth. I think a lot of people don't know some of the tracks that Brass Tooth's made. Um,
Oh,
very underrated.
definitely.
But yeah, people like that, and Steve Gurley and Zeb Bias as well. Some of that
Matt
stuff.
Jam, Matt Jam stuff.
Oh,
Uh, like, yeah, it's all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Ant-Hill Mob. It's a love all Ant-Hill Mob stuff. It's like, and that brings back memories to me. Like, you talk about earlier on about music. There's certain tracks that I can remember playing or hearing for the first time in a club,
yeah.
like Bagley or Coliseum or something like that. And then it was just vibe. Like when I came here to Dubai, obviously I'd not played garage for years, other than playing at like bars in Clapham and bars in Battersea and the odd bar or club. I stopped playing garage. You know what I mean? Like if I was playing like a 4 hour set, I play in my mates, like I said, my mates gaff in Clapham. I used to play down there on a Friday night and then go off and do like my raves, because obviously I was doing like late shows like 4 till 6 in the mornings and stuff. But I'll be playing like R&B and hip hop, garage, like commercial house, some like sort of end like on some more dancey stuff for like the people that are off their nut and stuff. Um, but the garage brunches, when I started playing the garage brunch in Dubai, and the first one I'd done here, the vibe brought me back to the original days of garage, and it brought like a big buzz back for me. That mate, it was wicked. Like Ori Styler was hosting it for it. I think I had who was at the first one? Was Hyperactive at the first one? Can't remember if Hyperactive was at the first one or not. He might be at the second one or
For
third one.
anyone who doesn't know who Ori Styler is as well, he's the guy from that viral video that showed people how you could dance to garage music using two body parts, this finger and this finger. If anyone knows about that video, then they know who Ori Styler is. Big up Ori.
Big up Ori. Ori is an absolute legend, mate. Do you know what? When we done the first garage brunch, there were some boys from South London there, and they were over on holiday. And mate, they lost their head. They lost their absolute head, because obviously garage ain't the same back in the garage raves ain't the same anymore back in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, being here, these guys hearing it for the first, mate, they were doing all sorts of moves, mate. It was the funniest thing I've ever. I still speak to the boys now, like they still message me every so often. We still chat, mate. It was just a vibe. And then done a couple more here. And then when I went back last year in January, John, the guy that runs, asked me to do it down in South East London. Was it East London? Can't remember. I've done it over there. Yeah, but done that from, mate. Again, it was just a fucking wicked vibe. Like everyone goes there. It's just the same. Not be funny. The problem you've got with garage though is that, as you know yourself, you go listen to 5, 6 DJs, you're guaranteed to hear the same tune.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's one reason I sort of always avoided, like we had like UK Garage Fest, and you had all these
yeah,
other different events, and I'm like, loads of people I know were going, and it probably would have been a great day, but I'm like, I really I don't want to hear, even when I'm playing at an event, like I'll play an hour set. I've got booked for a few garage events like UKG Spot and a couple of others at like Magic Roundabout and places like that about 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And, great events, really cool people. Big up Dan and all the guys there. But me and Eamon would go there and play like a garage set for old time's sake, and then a DJ would come on after us and play the tune that we played like second or third in our set. And I'm like,
Yeah.
is there not more to this? You know what I mean? And yeah, it's
But
it's the
probably
only thing that disappoints me with it is just like everyone's playing the same song. If I was to, like, for me personally, if I was to play at UKG brunch, I would probably just pull out the most obscure old school W4 to the floor shit and just smash it with that and play the occasional banger in the middle.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah,
that's exactly what But you're on that. You know your music as well. Do you know what I mean? You, Eamon, you know that side of it. Problem you have with them sort of UK garage, they're kids that go there now. Like, don't get me wrong, you get our age go there as well, but they only know the bait. Like you said, they only know the bait songs. They don't know like the underground stuff, the stuff that we would sort of like, you'd hear go, fucking hell, do you remember that? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, what's that? Sort of thing.
I'd probably go and just play a load of old four to the floor MJ stuff like Flavor Fever and whatnot, bro, and just vibe out. Just vibe out on my own. But no, I mean, I do still love garage music. I did there's actually a set on my Mixcloud. I'll plug it on my own podcast, mixcloud.com/Jadabuddha, JDABUDDAH. Press rewind if you wanted to catch that again. I did a garage set on Mixcloud Live, and it's up on my Mixcloud, and it's like just all not like the bait two-step, but vocal two-step that I kind of feels a little bit unappreciated, like Roachford From Now On and K Warren Coming Home and tracks like that they're not the baitest of bait, but they were on a couple of Pure Garage albums and whatnot, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think I did about a 2-hour show in the end, just in my bedroom, just sitting, just here, I had a whale of a fucking time. Loads of people locked in. It was a great laugh, and I do still love it. But yeah, I mean, that is the only problem with it, is you do get a lot of people playing the same sort of stuff all of the time. And if you're at a garage event for, it's not too bad if you're doing what me and you tend to prefer to do now, which is turn up 5 minutes before, play and bounce. But you do run a risk if you stay there for too long of hearing the same. I don't want to hear Little Man 6 times in the same night. It's a bit much.
Round 12.
Oh, it's a lot. In terms of house as well, when you came back, it was like you sort of came back into playing at a time when the deep tech sort of London sound was really, really just it gained traction. It was blowing. It was going all at events like Have a Word, as you mentioned earlier. What sort of music were you into around that time? Because for me, it was, that Audio Rehab sound was sick, and there was some really great producers coming out of Europe, like, Finnebassen and people like that. What sort of vibe were you on when you came back into the scene?
I did like the UK sound. Obviously, when I came back in, to be fair, I weren't really listening to any sort of house music. It's sort of, I'd love the funky side of things when funky was out. I did love it, like the soulful stuff as well. I thought it was decent. But for me, I didn't have a clue of what I was going to actually play, and I didn't know what I'd actually like at the same time. So if you was to hear me play when I first come back, man, I'd be all over the fucking shop. I'd be playing laid back Luke stuff at one stage, and then some Hot Creation stuff, and then some sort of like Black Coffee stuff. Like weird. Like I didn't have a sound. Like I didn't have. I genuinely didn't have a sound. I was lost because obviously I had such a long gap from it. I was just picking stuff up and just playing it, just for the sake of playing it at the same time. If I liked it, I played it.
But again, that speaks to the progression that you have made since then. Because today, when I listened to your show, it was a journey. Do you know what I mean? It was a nice. It wasn't, everything didn't sound the same, but it was like it was packed in, and it was like, okay, I know what to expect from the rest of this show. This is going to be like, this is good, Whereas, as you say, you're playing laid back Luke 1 minute and Black Coffee the next is a bit erratic.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. Like I've sort of learned, obviously, over the years of obviously how to play. Obviously, the more you play, the more experience you get and stuff like that. And obviously, you do find your sound. You find your way of what you want to do with it all. For me, I love tech house. I love playing it. I love making it. I love the sound of it. The UK sort of Audio Rehab sound was good at the time. Then would I play it now? No. Is it sort of thing I like? Because there is, obviously, I still hear bits and pieces of it. I can't stand it when I do hear it, because I think it sounds completely different to what I sort of like, and there's no disrespect to the producers and everything that's doing, that's their sound. But then to me, it's like I wouldn't play dubstep or wouldn't. It's not my sound, this sort of thing. But I don't mind it at the same time with it. But I don't like techno. I can't. I remember going to Fuse like years ago, and I must have been there for 6 hours, 7 hours, mate. And it sounded like the same track for like 7 hours.
It's mad, isn't it?
Like
That's absolutely mad. I can't stand that shit.
I can't do that shit. So like, the stuff I will play, like you probably heard today, I play a lot of remixes of obviously there's a lot of remixes of fucking tech house stuff at the minute anyway. But I do if I find them and I like it, I play a lot of new stuff and with vocals in. There's a lot of vocal stuff I do play in it. Might be full vocal, it might be sporadic vocals and whatnot, but it's never too like, fuck, this is too hard, I've got to turn off, or this isn't sort of thing. I've never been that sort of person. Even when I played garage, I wasn't really. There were certain bits I'd play, like US Alliance and stuff like that, but like back in the day. But that was a different sound. Do you know what I mean? I like playing stuff with different sounds at the same time and making stuff.
Yeah, I've made. I think it's important to be as varied and have as much nuance to not only your sets but mainly your collection of music as well. And that's something that I know you've got, and you know it's obviously paid dividends, especially with the musical knowledge that you've got. And it's always handy to have that, because as you say, like, you know, you can get this corporate gig and that corporate gig, and it's just like, you know, if you're in tune with all of these different genres, at least you know you can go and put on a show and change things up as you're going through the night. Speaking of which, do you have any go-to records if you're playing at, you know, say you are playing at like a private gig or a corporate gig or something like that? Is there any go-to records that, you know, if the night's not quite where you want it to be, you're going to pull them out of the bag? Secret weapons, weapons of mass destruction.
Are we talking corporates?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, we're talking corporates.
We'll...
Candy, Candy standard, Candy standard. What else we got? Oh, never too much. Again, like that there. Uptown Funk. Debate ones. Do you know what I mean with them?
But it's interesting that all three of those tracks could kind of fit into the same genre and set, right?
Yeah, without shadow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you remember the mixes that I did, right? That the old school mixes that I
I
did.
used to love it. Literally,
Yeah, like, that sound, bro, it's never, it's eternal, mate. It's that fire will never ever die.
I played House of Queens, right? No word of a lie. I played House of Queens before we went down into this no music entertainment thing. Was this after? It was after Christmas. So it was the beginning of January, right? So I was meant to finish at 2. So I played from 12 till 2, and I was meant to finish at 2. The place didn't close till 3. The guy came up to me, the guy that like Darren, who runs the music and stuff like that. He said to me, it was his birthday and stuff, and he said, "Oh, could I play one tune from him?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll play one tune." I played this tune for him and all that. All of a sudden, I was like, "Do you know what? It was an R&B tune. That was what you wanted, an R&B tune, like to close the night out." And I love playing old school R&B and hip hop. I love playing it.
Yeah,
like
I do as well.
Because I find it more fun, like more interesting. Because obviously, with house, you know what you're doing with house. It's the same as garage. Like it's all the same sort of thing. I find it more of a challenge doing it the other way around. Like I'm looping stuff. I mix R&B and hip hop like I'm mixing house. Like I loop stuff. I do like things like that. Anyway, I played it. I ended up playing till 3 o'clock in the morning. Right, I played an extra hour. Played R&B and hip hop. I played all club classics like Never Too Much, like All It Can. Mate, it went off. Bearing in mind, no one could get up and dance, and the bouncers were going absolutely fucking nuts because people were bouncing on tables and all sorts. Like, mate, I've never buzzed so much since I've been in Dubai for this night, for this hour that I'd done of it. Mate, I was playing Shaka Khan, you name it. I was sort of playing it, mate. I played one of my personal favourites of all time is One Whack and One Whack Teardrops.
Yeah.
Mate, I played that. It went off. Mate, I played that in Egg. I closed the night for a Get Twisted party. By 6 o'clock in the morning, I played it. Everyone off their nut in there. I finished with it. It went fucking ballistic. I must have rewound it about 4 times. People singing it off.
That's sick. I love that. I played the last gig I actually played. Actually, no, technically it was Carnival 2019, but the night before Carnival 2019, we played at shit. I can't even remember the name of the club, but it was in Carnaby Street or just off Carnaby Street, and me and Eamon played there. One of our mates was managing it, and she had booked Grant Nelson to do the Saturday night. And during the daytime, It's a weird place. It's like a bar. It opens out onto Carnaby Street, and they had like a cocktail guy outside, and it was a really hot day, and she basically paid me to come and DJ the whole day, but just to like people on the street kind of thing. So it's a really weird gig. Obviously, you can't really build up a set and stuff because there's no one there, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
people
yeah.
passing all day. And I spent most of the day. I spent most of the day mixing like R&B and hip hop and you know a little bit of commercial house, and I actually played some garage and stuff like that, and people were having a good time. But then later on in the evening, we there's a nightclub downstairs from there, and she had booked Grant Nelson to play. Me and Eamon were playing down there with him, and I went on afterwards, and someone asked for some R&B, and Grant was obviously playing Grant Nelson music. He's playing like, tech, like garage, old school house, funky house, techie house. Like he was just going in with all of his productions and whatnot. And then I went on after him and played like a couple of like disco dub remixes and stuff, and then sort of progressed into down into disco and then down into R&B and hip hop. I just managed to make that transition.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was one of the most, like, by that point, the club had started to empty out. But it was one of the most fun sets I've played. Like, Eamon was just chilling next to me. We were having a drink. Grant Nelson was chilling on the other side, and we were having a chat with him. And I was just like, just turning around and randomly scratching and looping in tracks and, playing like Belle Biv DeVoe Poison or, SWV and tracks like that. Mate, I'm in total agreement with you. That playing that kind of music, I'm actually going to try and do like a late night slow jams and R&B set on a Mixcloud stream one night. It's something I've been planning on doing for ages. But yeah, man, I'm in total agreement that it's just either just as a private party sort of bit of fun or something to end the night with. It's
Vibe
so
like
good.
with like I do a thing at the minute. I don't even know how this started, right? So I do a thing called Saturday sessions at the minute on my Instagram. So my Instagram live it's on a Saturday. It falls on a Saturday. I don't know why. I can't. I remember I was driving, or someone was driving, and Spotify was on those old R&B classics. And what I would do is I was just like film like I was driving or whatever, and then start singing. And then like for 15 seconds of the clip, start singing. Then obviously I'll turn the camera on me and then I'll start singing it, and I'll just say like, I don't know, it might be SWV, like yeah, yes or no. It might be like 112 or whatever, mate. I'm singing my head off to it, like carpool karaoke sort of thing. Mate, do you know how many people messaged me and said, Blaise, do you know how much it's just cheered me up? You need to do this every week. I mean, I've been doing it for the last 6 weeks. Now I'm running out of R&B fucking classics, by the way. But I'm literally, mate, I'm love it. Like literally, I'm cracking up laughing doing it. Like, I'm like, I take the piss out of myself anyway with it. Last week I wore a fucking wig. Like, it was a wig. My kid's wig was in the car, so I just put this fucking wig on because they had a fancy dress thing. I put it on and I was just dancing around, just singing it. And the vibe from people just on Instagram, just saying, "Oh, Blaise, can you do? Oh, I can't wait for next week," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." But that's the same in the club when you're playing them sort of tracks in the club. When it's old school sort of vibe and it's our mentality sort of thing, mate, it's unreal.
Yeah,
Like,
and I always tend to go home really happy when I've ended a night like that. I don't know why. Just those tunes. If I can go home singing, this is how we do it, or R. Kelly vibe or something like that, I'm just like, I've ended the night in a good way. But yeah, I did say I'd ask. In terms of clubs, any weapons of mass destruction for clubs, or secret weapons, or even mashups or anything like that sort of come out of the bag when you're not struggling, but you just need something to really kick people up the arse. Have you got any special weapons?
mate, do you know what? I've always said this, right? No matter where you play, if it's in a club or anything, if you play "Show Me Love," any remix to "Show Me Love," yeah.
I was waiting. I was sitting there. I was going to interrupt you and say you're going to say "Show Me Love," ain't you?
Listen. If you play "Show Me Love" in a club, right, and it doesn't go off in a club, you're having the shittest night ever, like ever with it.
No one in that club has a soul. If you play that song and people don't enjoy it.
Now, do you know what? If there's, do you know what? It's one of them things. Like, I don't think I have a sort of weapon. It's really difficult, like to have a weapon this day and age because there's so much music. Do you know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, you could have like an ammo of like 10 tracks.
Yeah.
You know that one of them tracks are going to make the place explode, sort of thing. Now there's so much music. Like you would think, all right, this tune's going to fucking blow, or this, and then all of a sudden it's just deadpan. Like no one moves, sort of thing. You think, what's happened there? Like it's just weird. But then I do find if you do bring a a track with some sort of, like you say, a mashup of an old vocal or something like that, that always gets people moving. You
Yeah, I
know,
mean,
because
I
when
remember. I think Spenny. I can't remember if he used to do it live or if he used to have a mashup of it. But Mandy, Booker Shade or whatever the track is, with CC Peniston finally vocals over the top of it. So when it would
yeah,
drop like boom, 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 like it had like it ain't Mr. Right, like but it just used to go off like every now and
yeah,
again. I don't know if he used to do it live or if he'd just play it as a track. And every time, every fucking time, it's one of the biggest house tracks because of the
yeah,
boom, 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 boom. Like everyone knows it. And then CC Peniston's vocal obviously is legendary. So yeah, it's always good to have those in a bag. I mean, I've got a mashup of it's the instrumental of Little Man, but the vocals of Jesse's song "Tell Me."
yeah,
It's just
sick,
like rather than play Little Man, which everyone fucking plays, it's a
yeah.
massive mashup that no one's expecting. So yeah, no, I totally agree, man. But yeah, I knew as soon as you were just like, yeah, no matter what venue, I was like, he's gonna fucking say "Show Me Love."
It's true though, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
when I used to say that at corporates as well, like corporates and weddings. Like if there was this sort of thing, no matter even if it was a club, you know, if you play that, if no one's reacting to that, you know you're fucked.
yeah, yeah.
Basically,
You might as well just put on a mix and go.
basically, yeah, you might as well just like, hope for the best. You know, you've got another 2 hours left. You think, fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
it's really funny actually. I was at my dad's house earlier. I put around to see my dad, and um, he's kind of half looking after him at the minute. He's been pretty bad health over the last year. But I was sitting down with him, and he had the TV on, and we were looking on YouTube for some of the clubs. My dad was a DJ as well,
Yeah,
and we were looking at some of the clubs that he used to play at, and there was some footage of one club, and you know, it was the DJ was playing something. I can't remember what the fuck it was, but then literally the next tune. Like no one was really dancing to this tune, but literally the next tune that dropped from the top was "Show Me Love." That's one of the reasons I'm finding this conversation so funny because literally it was
mad though,
just,
isn't it?
yeah. But it is. I think it's every single DJ just knows. It's like the whole night could be shit, and so just play "Show Me Love" and everything will be fine. Like, yeah.
You know what, I played the Show Me Love remix tonight. Do you know the
I heard
Hood?
it actually. Yeah, I heard it on the show. Yeah,
Fucking decent. I only got it today.
yeah,
And I played it. I played it. It's actually really, it's actually a good remix. But again, it's just as soon as you hear that vocal, mate, people just react to it. Like my Insta went off to it, and
yeah.
then obviously the WhatsApp started popping off on it.
Yeah, it is a great track. There's actually, do you know what's really funny is it's rinsed to shit. So obviously, like for people in our position, it's just like, you know, if you're out and about, you don't really necessarily want to hear "Show Me Love" yourself because you've heard
Yeah,
it 1,000 times.
yeah.
But it's interesting. There's, in actual fact, Robin S.'s other track that was big, "Love for Love," is actually one of my all-time favorite tracks. But there is a couple of remixes of "Show Me Love." There's like a soulful, sort of deep sounding Kerry Chandler mix, and it was on. They brought out like a 25th anniversary champion
I heard it.
vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
heard it.
there's a Kerry Chandler remix on there. And oh, mate, I found it the other day. I was going through some old CDs and I was just like, shit, I need to rip that and make sure I've got it on the hard drive like ASAP because yeah, that's a great remix. So yeah, if you know, if you ever hear me playing that, I've also got there's a disco mix that came out towards the end of 2019. I'll have to send it over to you, but that's pucker. It's like 115, 116 BPM, and it's like just that proper disco broken beat sound, like just that boom, 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 like, oh, bro,
Yeah,
it's absolutely fucking class. And I played it again on one of the live streams I've done on Mixcloud, and yeah, I was just I was vibing in my bedroom to it. I was like, now
yeah.
this version I can listen to because it's a little bit different. But yeah, man, just yeah, I do find that funny. I do really find that funny. Of course, it was going to be "Show Me Love." Of course, it was.
Cool.
Um,
Like the thing is, it's one of them things that I say. There's just so much music at
yeah,
the minute. It's just crazy. Like it depends where I sort of play. Like if I was to play, say like at a commercial sort of place, you drop cola, like Camel Fat Cola, like still people go fucking nuts for that. You play at fucking the what's the place in that does all the shots back in the UK? I can't remember what it was called. Bloody hell! What's the thing? You know, that one of the bars in the UK, you play like house every weekend, it fucking go off. Like you're talking shit tunes, like, but it's sort of like they go off like that. That's it depends where you actually are with it.
what do you
It's just
mean?
weird.
What do you mean? House every weekend's a shit tune. What do you mean? It was ripped off of someone
Dead,
else's work?
dead, dead, dead. I don't know why. My brother ripped it off.
Yeah. I won't bring that up if I actually get him on the show because I think it's a bone of
Bring it up, mate.
contention.
Brilliant. What's his face? You know, the
Yeah.
funny thing about that, right, was the story behind that is I remember it coming out and stuff like that, and someone said to me, Mike Kofi rang me. I was at 65, that was it. I played at 65, and Kofi was with me, and I left, and then Kofi rang me and went to me, Blaise, what's um House Every Week? No, not House Every Week. What's the Night Is Calling remix? I was like, what are you on about? And I was like, the Night Is Calling remix. I was like, I got all the remixes. And he's like, no, there's another track like not House Every Week. He was like Night Is Calling. I was like, I ain't got clues. I phoned Steph that day. I was like, Steph, you got another remix? He was like, no, I ain't got another remix. I was like, you've got all the remixes. I was like, no, there's another remix. He was like, there ain't. He goes, you've got all the remixes. I was like, bruv, there's a fucking remix of this thing. I said, I'll find it. Found it, sent it to me. He's like, I do fuck all. And he went to number one on the thing. But do you know the piss take behind it? I don't know if he's ever told you the story of this. The music video that they've done for it is shot in the laundrette next to my mum and dad's.
Oh my God. So yeah, basically for anyone who doesn't know the story, Tough Love had a record out called The Night Is Calling, and it's a really, really great record. And what's really mad is I'm a musical encyclopedia. I'll say that here straight up, like all kinds of different genres. You know, some of my favorite artists range from Michael Jackson to Slipknot. Like there's not much in between. Like, I know so much about music, and I've never actually heard that original vocal. Is one of very few records that I've listened to and gone, where the fuck did he get that from? Like, I can tell you the exact point of a record from where they sampled for Keep It Burning. Like that's how, like, I can hear a sample and I can pick up records like that. And but yeah, so Tough Love have got The Night Is Calling, and it's a great record. And then David Zowie, who made House Every Weekend, obviously went out and discovered that same vocal for himself somewhere in the wilderness, and totally didn't rip off Tough Love's original track and had a number one with it. It's quite interesting. There was someone I know that I'll tell you off air, someone I know that was actually offered the chance to sign that record from a big house label and didn't. I don't know where it ended up. I can't remember what label it actually came out on, but there's someone that a name that you would 110% know. They might have actually even been mentioned already in the show, but yeah, someone was offered that track and said no, and then it went to number one, and whew, boy.
That's crazy. It's the music industry, though, isn't it, mate? It's a crazy business.
It really is. It really is bizarre. But mate, I'm really hopeful that you will continue to navigate it, and that diagonal line on that graph that we were talking about does nothing but shoot up, and long may the success grow and continue, mate. Bringing the show to a close, where can people catch you for more information on what you have got going on?
Mate, catch me across my socials, Blaise DJ, at Blaise DJ. That's Blaise DJ. That's across all boards, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud as well.
Sick. Are you doing mixes and putting them up, or are you just like, have you
all
got...
all my live mixes go up on there now. And obviously I've got like a random as fuck. I've got a monthly mix in Moldova. Don't know how that. But yeah,
them Eastern European collections, mate. That's what that is.
Mate, listen, I've got a mix there. So basically, I played in Qatar 2 years ago, and I met one of the guys there. Got on really well with him. One of the guys that was hosting the night, was DJ and stuff like that. I've just stayed in contact with him, and he moved from Qatar back to Moldova, and then wanted me to do some bits and pieces for him there. So I do like a guest show for him every month. Mate, I was on Moldova's thingy, like news channel, like representing the UK on their thingy, mate. Some big massive thing on like primetime TV from. I don't understand a word they say, like with it, but yeah, I'm on it. And they sent it to me as well. So I've got a show there. That's uploaded on my SoundCloud, and then obviously my Flex stuff, and then my singles and stuff like that go on there as well, and obviously Spotify as well.
Sweet, happy days. So yeah, if you want to keep up with the international jet setting playboy that we've got over here these days, yeah. So at Blaise DJ on everything, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be able to have a bit of a catch up on the life of your one, because you know it's a long time coming, and you know, as I said at the start of the podcast is kind of an opportunity to catch up with old friends and chat shit about music and other industries, you know. In a way that we wouldn't normally get to, and just record the conversation, you know. So I really appreciate the time. And yeah, every Monday 4 till 6 drive time in the UK, Flex FM 101.4 in London, you can catch the one and only Blaise. Mate, Thank you very much.
My mate, thanks for having me. Appreciate and good to talk to you. And catch up when I'm back as well, 100%.
For sure. Right, guys, on the next episode, I do believe it is going to be the one and only Paul S. As I've said, I was a guest on Paul's podcast. So that's Paul ESS on Spotify. Look down. I think episode 4 or 5 was Jada Buddha. So go and download that. Listen to my life story, me being interviewed, me being in the other seat for a change. So if you enjoyed listening to today, make sure you go and give that a listen. And Paul will be up on the next episode. We'll be discussing everything, not only just music. We'll be reviewing the recent UFC 258 pay-per-view and looking forward towards 259 as well, and discussing Paul and his achievements in jiu-jitsu. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting show. But until then, this is the Over the Hill podcast. I've been Jada Buddha, aka James Hill. He's been DJ Blaise, aka DJ Blaise. Peace out.